Welcome to the Cryptocurrently podcast. My name is Pete Dobson. Listen, got a message in from a listener, Chris, over the weekend. Actually, just a couple hours ago. He says, "Hey, love your podcast, and would recommend introducing yourself at the beginning so people can get used to hearing your name." Thank you, Chris. Noted. I will do that. Thank you for. Listen, I'm new to podcasting. All right, so. I'm figuring out what works. I'm putting a lot of study into finding out how to put together a really good podcast for everyone. And I openly receive any criticism. Right? If you can make my show better, even if it hurts to hear, let me have it. That was a good message. Thank you, Chris. Big things to get to this Monday morning. Bitcoin. U.S. government to sell 513 Bitcoin and 512 Bitcoin Cash seized from dark web dealer. All right, so already the government is cracking down on criminals. Love it. I love that. If you actually read that article, it goes on to say that one of the things that is listed in their the charges that were leveled against the criminals was mail fraud. All right, now just a quick story. When I was a commodity trader, was starting in the late '90s, and in 1998 there was a lot of cracking down on any kind of investment or securities firms. One of the firms that got raided and cracked down on was a firm that I was working for at the time, right in the middle of Newport Beach, by the way. Newport Beach is one of the richest areas on the planet. There's more money there than there is pretty much anywhere else on the earth, except for a couple other places. So when we got raided, there was a bunch of people with guns who came in, and one of the groups of people with guns was the United States Post Office. Let me tell you something, that the mail doesn't really seem like that big of a deal, but please believe me when I tell you that the federal government takes the mail very seriously. And if you read that article and you see the thing in there about mail fraud, don't dismiss it. That's a big deal. Anyways, other news. Korea. Check it out. Bitcoin Cash surged up to $3,800 in Korea amid a flurry of mainstream media coverage. Listen, Koreans, they love cryptocurrencies. They love Bitcoin, and and it's not just Korea. It's like Japan and China as well. All right, and we all saw what happened in China. And I've banged on this drum a couple of times, and I just don't want you to forget that China right now is essentially, they're not in the market. Okay. When that Chinese money is given the green light to come back into cryptocurrencies fully, it fully will, in my humble opinion. Japan is opening up a new marketplace for Bitcoin, and when they open that market up, all right, the massively popular Japanese entertainment site DMM.com has announced that it will be opening a new Bitcoin exchange on January 10th. Okay, that's in 3 days. And we'll be including 6 other cryptocurrencies initially. Okay, and one of those 6 other cryptocurrencies is going to be Ripple. All right. Now, Ripple's having a hell of a run, right? They're up to $3. There's a whole bunch of them out there, and so to run to $3 in as little time as it has, it's substantial. It's got the second largest market capitalization in the market, above Ethereum. Okay, now Ethereum, in my opinion, is still going to be the go-to currency for purchasing other cryptocurrencies. Right? When you see a lot of these other coins, these altcoins, the only way to buy them is Ethereum and Litecoin. All right. So the fact that Ripple is above that's strong, and so when Japan comes out and says, "All right, listen," not Japan like the government, but this website comes out, who's already massive, right? They're huge. DMM.com, when they put Ripple on the market, on their exchange, all right, that lends itself to accessibility. Furthermore, it helps Bitcoin. This is another thing that people tend to forget, is that in my opinion, one of the reasons why Bitcoin is just kind of bouncing around and not really doing much, it's walking like it's ankle deep in mud, right? Going up a little bit, coming down a little. It was down to 13,000. Now it's up to 16,000. Certainly not 19,000 where it was. One of the reasons why is, one, because of the fear of the new tax legislation. There's still a lot of fear out there about what the new tax code is going to do to the individual who purchases Bitcoin or anything else, for that matter, in cryptocurrencies. The other thing is the amount of time that it takes to get in and out of Bitcoin trades, and the fees. Okay, the cost of doing business. That's in commodity trading terms, that's called a basis. The cost of transportation, right? Well, in cryptocurrencies are a commodity, and the cost of transportation is basically the cost of doing business. And if there's high fees on Bitcoin, people are going to be way reluctant to buy or sell, because most people don't have a lot of money in it, right? If you've got, let's say you have $3,000 in Bitcoin, I mean, that might be a lot of money because you only put $100 into it a year ago or whatever. But if you try to sell out and take some of that value and put it into something else that you like, you're going to be penalized most likely. So I believe that that's keeping traders from trading. So if Bitcoin gets on enough other exchanges, and other exchanges compete for that business, right, and they offer lower fees, well, people are just going to naturally gravitate to wherever the fees are lowest. And then that way, like, say if DMM decides to do that and undercut, well, then they get to keep all of that transaction money, right? And competition's good. I am a huge fan of competition, and particularly when it comes to this sort of thing, because it drives prices down and it makes people more free to trade. When people are more free to trade, money flows more rapidly. So as this continues, I see good things for Bitcoin. Good things, muzzle, muzzle. Name that movie. Good things for Bitcoin, good things for Ripple, as it is that Ripple is the highlight of this story about DMM trading Ripple on their new exchange. Okay, a couple other things in the news that you may have missed. Commodities king Dennis Gartman predicts Bitcoin price to drop to 5,000 and then completely crap the bed. All right, well, listen, Commodity King. I, as a licensed trader, a former licensed trader who traded on behalf of my clients, anybody who goes around allowing themselves to be called the Commodities King, you know what? Just take a picture. Take a look at the picture of this guy. He looks like an old fuddy-duddy. Listen, a couple of points that are true. You're going to hear people saying there's no intrinsic value in cryptocurrencies. There's no intrinsic value in Bitcoin. There's no intrinsic value. There's no intrinsic value. You're going to hear that over and over again, and that's kind of true, right? There's no actual coin, right? There's no, like, for the people who actually had the coins, it wasn't really a coin. It was a coin-shaped thing that if you pulled the sticker on it, there was a code inside on paper. That's true, but that's really not how value works, in a sense. Okay, so if you've lived long enough, all right, let's say you're a millennial right now. Okay, I'm 44, so I'm kind of an older guy, and so my perspective is I'm not nearly as caught up in the excitement of cryptocurrencies as everybody else. I love it, but I don't get all worked up about it. And here's why: because I've as a trader, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things come and go. When I was a kid, the first thing I saw where people just went absolutely crazy was these dolls called Cabbage Patch Kids, and people were getting in fights in stores over these things, and their value skyrocketed. I remember in Christmas of 1998, a friend of mine sold his PlayStation 2 for over $10,000 because there was a run on PlayStations that he bought his PlayStation for like $100 or something like that, and he sold it for $10,000. He bought it for his son, but the value of it skyrocketed. He's like, "Sorry, Johnny, you're not going to have a PlayStation this Christmas. I'm getting paid, son." So I've seen it in Beanie Babies. I've seen it in Pokemon cards. And if you're one of these millennials that's in the market right now, you've seen it with the Magic cards, Magic the Gathering, right? You've got rare cards and mythic rares and all these other, rare cards. Well, those are valuable. What makes them valuable? It's the fact that you have it and nobody else does, and so you can demand whatever you want for it, right? It's valuable because you say it is, and somebody on the other end agrees with you. That's value. So to say that it has no intrinsic value, well, yeah, I guess if you're looking through the scope of nothing but history, then yeah, there's no intrinsic value. But looking into the future, okay, do you think the internet's going to go away? I'm going to go with no. Do you think that blockchain technology is just going to stop and everybody's going to say, you know what, let's just forget the whole thing? Yeah, that's not going to happen either. Do you believe that businesses like hotels and restaurants and pizza places, people who transact almost exclusively with credit cards, do you think that those kind of companies are wildly interested in finding out a way how to not get chargebacks, right? If somebody goes to a hotel and they pay with their credit card and then they stay for the weekend and then they leave, did you know that person can just call their credit card company and say, "Hey, you know what? Bad things happened. I wasn't satisfied, whatever," and they can get their money back on their credit card. And the credit card company is always going to side with the customer, right? And that means that the business is going to get a chargeback, and there's almost nothing that they can do about it. There's a lot of money lost just on that one example. Every year, travel is the number one planetary gross domestic product. It's travel. And cryptocurrencies solves that problem, right? If all of a sudden the Hilton Corporation decides that they're going to allow payment to be made in cryptocurrencies, well, there's not going to be any chance of a chargeback. They're going to receive their cryptocurrency, they're going to cash it in, and then that's that. No chance of chargeback. That solves a huge problem. So Mr. Commodity King, Dennis Gartman, who predicts that Bitcoin price will drop to 5,000 and then completely die, can you look into the future? Can you see what's going to happen in the future? Because I think all of us can, right? If there's problems, then there has to be a solution to that problem. And there are very smart people in this world who become very wealthy. Some of them even become famous, and all they do is they solve problems, right? They go to MIT and they patent stuff and they use their crazy, wicked, smart brain to solve problems using mathematics. I mean, this guy thinks that cryptocurrencies is just going to go away. It's okay. Well, then what's going to take its place, sir? You know what I mean? Like that problem still has to be solved by something. It may not be cryptocurrencies, but it has to be something. And whatever that something is, we cannot find it in the past. We have to look to the future, and those problems must be solved. So that's the podcast for Monday morning. So covered a couple of things. South Korea surges on Ethereum. South Korea loves cryptocurrencies. We've got Japan, a big company in Japan, opening up a new marketplace for Bitcoin, and Ripple will be in that marketplace. One other thing before you go. New marketplaces means other listings. Okay? The big problem with trading cryptocurrencies is where they're listed. We talked about Packcoin all week because I called it on Wednesday, and by Saturday it was up pretty big. And we'll get into that. I think I'm going to do that on my YouTube show today, talking about Packcoin. But Packcoin is difficult to buy. Right? You gotta go buy Litecoin, and then you gotta take that Litecoin and put it on an exchange, and then once you're at the exchange, you've got to buy the Packcoin, and then once you've bought the Packcoin, you've got to open up a Packcoin wallet from their website, and it's kind of a big, it takes some time. It's frustrating, but whatever. That's because we're so new in this cryptocurrency market. These are the kind of problems that we're having, and these problems will be solved. All right, there are people who are working on these exact same problems right now, and they will be solved. My money's on this year, 2018. A lot of these problems are just going to be gone within a couple of months because there's so many people out there looking, going, God, we could make so much more money if we just made this available to everybody, right? It makes sense. It's good for everybody. And when this Japanese company comes out and says, okay, look, we're going to create a new Bitcoin market and we're going to list Ripple on there, that means more money can flow through Ripple. And it's happening in Japan, and Japanese people, Chinese people, and South Korean people love cryptocurrencies. So that means more money flowing. The more money flows, the more stable these things get, and theoretically more valuable they become. So, good things for everyone. Please please share this podcast. Help me get the word out there. I appreciate all you guys who've been sharing and subscribing. Go on my Twitter, ArchAdvocate, ArchAdvocate1 on Twitter. Leave me a message. I'll read it. I will try to read it on the YouTube show and on the podcast. That's it for this Monday morning. We will see you tomorrow.